All right, let's talk about Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Had a big day for them. Obviously, the numbers were incredible, passer rating over 140. But of course, box score numbers are just box score numbers. Sometimes they can be misleading. It's always good to watch the tape and see exactly how good someone was. And Baker made some real nice plays. And it wasn't just like throwing to open guys. There was some of that, and we can get into it. But there's also plays like what you see on your screen. This is a 3rd down and 6 situation. Tampa Bay obviously wanting to keep the drive alive. Washington going with a zone blitz on this one. And the route you see on the screen is Chris Godwin's route. When the play begins, that's where Mayfield is going to look right here. Except it's not really open. It's well played by Washington. They're doing a pretty good job. And like I said, there's a blitz. There's 5 guys rushing the passer. So while Tampa Bay doing a good job at picking it up, you can only pick it up for so long. There is going to be pressure. Like that guy's coming right in to try and take Baker Mayfield's head off. So what can you do here? Well, I mean, I guess you can just throw the ball away, right? Or you can do this. Watch Mayfield sidestep him, makes an off-balance throw to Godwin, who was able to get open. And again, Mayfield being able to move while reading that guys are getting open, keeping his eyes downfield while being able to navigate the pressure, something that he's been really good at throughout the course of his career, even when it wasn't going well. And honestly, Baker had some real nice playmaking plays. It wasn't just the pocket stuff. This play was a really good one where he's going for a deep shot here because it's a single safety deep coverage. And for Tampa Bay, typically Baker wants to throw deep if he can. That's who he is. He's a gunslinger by trade. That's what he wants to do. So first he takes a snap. He looks downfield towards the bottom of the screen and doesn't really love what he sees. And I actually think his goal on this was to try and get the safety more in that direction because I think he wants to go towards the receiver going to the top of the screen. I think that's where he really likes. However, when he gets over there, he doesn't love that either. It looks open from here, but there is a Washington player just off screen ahead of him. So Mayfield now, had an idea in his head trying to get a deep shot. Isn't really going to work. And, he could throw a check down, gain 5 yards or so, and that's probably a good idea, to be honest. Mayfield decides not to, is going to scramble out, because again, he wants a deep shot. However, this is not going so well at this point. Washington player getting ready to tackle him. Mayfield's halfback on this play is getting out for a potential check down at this point, but, again, he was blocking. Mayfield's not ready for this. Mayfield's about to get tackled. It is what it is. Except no, Mayfield somehow, while getting tackled, is able to flip it in a very Patrick Mahomes-esque way to pick up actually a decent gain on that one. That went for more yards than if he just hit the check down originally, as it turned out, thanks to a nice piece of running by Rachaad White after he got the ball. Really good stuff there by Mayfield, certainly, and he was able to do these types of things. And of course, he was able to do these types of things. This was a great play, definitely one you saw on a lot of highlight reels, mostly on, talking about Mike Evans, but Mayfield had a key part in this play as well. It's a one-on-one shot, Evans going to the end zone. If you see this, you already know where Mayfield is going to go with the ball. If it's a true one-on-one matchup, the ball's going in that direction. Baker takes the snap. He's going to look over. He's going to fire. Again, he's not even thinking. It's, Evans one-on-one. I'm taking that shot, which is the correct strategy. Evans doesn't appear to be that open, but look at what's going to happen. Evans somehow fights to get his hands free and get the ball. Incredible job by him, but also that ball placement was perfect. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. And also just the chemistry that these two guys have, right? Kind of Evans knowing where the ball is going to be. Baker knowing where to put the ball for Mike Evans, right? Getting that stuff down, having another year now to work with each other is really impactful. Also, a play like this, I think, is a great example of, it's something I hadn't really thought of too much, but I thought about it on this play where it's a 3rd down and 3. It's a cover 2-man, and also I have to say, I got to put some criticism on Washington here. The 2 safeties are really deep on this play, which just, I get you've been getting kind of burned here so far, but I feel like I would rather them take a bit of a chance right here, because the 2 safeties basically are out of the play at this point. The Buccaneers only need 3 yards. I think that's a bit of a mistake. Also, just a 3-man rush. Defensive lineman will drop back into coverage over the middle. That is Chris Godwin's route, and watch how this play is going to work. Godwin starts this route going for an inside leverage type situation, uses his physicality to make that happen. it's a weird scenario where there isn't a ton of separation. And like I said, there are players now kind of over the middle of the field. So Mayfield's going to have to get the ball there in a hurry. Here's the thing. Mayfield has as, good of arm strength as anybody in the league. Even though he's not a huge guy, it's almost kind of it's a bit misleading seeing him as sort of a smaller guy. You assume he doesn't have a huge arm, but he has a cannon and he can get it there in a hurry. The issue, though, is if you try something like that, a lot of wide receivers, it's hard to catch a ball if you throw it too hard. But that's kind of why I think it's a perfect combination to have Mayfield and Godwin. Because watch how Baker throws a fastball, but Godwin has hands of steel, so he's able to catch it. And that's kind of a great combination for those two guys. And this is something they can do pretty frequently. So, Mayfield's the kind of guy who can break your fingers with how hard he can throw. But with Godwin, it doesn't matter. And really accurate, a great play. That doesn't look that fancy live, but trust me, that is not easy for either of those guys to do. But they're definitely capable of doing it. As for the negatives, I always try to talk about the positives and negatives each. This is going to be a short segment going through the negatives. Really only one play. There was a couple of missed throws, which that just happens any quarterback game. You're going to probably not hit every single one. Baker came pretty close. He missed a couple. And then this was probably the one negative. It's an out route here on a 2nd down and 11, one-on-one matchup. Mayfield's going to take the snap. He looks in that direction. And as of right here, I think you could argue it's a bit of a risky play. Now, I think you could also argue this is a bit on Trey Palmer. Watch how I think that, corner does a better job at running the route than Palmer did. You do have to wonder if Palmer runs a better route. Like, if that's Mike Evans, that might just be a completion, right? So it's still on Mayfield at the end of the day because you got to know your receiver and you got to know who he's up against and all that stuff. But at the same time, if this is your one negative, was you had one turnover-worthy play and an otherwise pretty perfect performance, I'm going to say this was a pretty good day by Mayfield. But yeah, as I mentioned, going to be a short segment in the negatives because there were not that many to choose from. And there were some, Mayfield was just doing a lot of stuff. He was getting out of sacks on a lot of these plays as well. Just a lot of really good stuff from Baker. So, I do I didn't really show too many of these in the video I made, but there were some wide open guys. Absolutely, that's true. Going back and rewatching the tape, like the Jalen McMillan touchdown, there was no Washington player within 10 yards of him. It is what it is. But at the same time, the quarterback's job is to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them. There were more opportunities than you'll get in your average game, but he took advantage of them. And even when there weren't opportunities, he found ways to create opportunities out of nothing or out of not very much. And when there were maybe not great opportunities, he still was able to fit the ball through tight windows and things like that. So again, I've seen some people maybe start the Baker Mayfield MVP. I think it's a bit too early for that personally, but yeah, a really dominant win. Real test next week against Detroit for Tampa Bay. I think we'll learn a lot about what kind of team this really is next week. Even if they lose, if they can keep that competitive, it would be good. And if they can pull off a win, that'd be really good. But yeah, very impressive week 1 by Baker and the Buccaneers. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.